Welcome in to Two Bald Guys on the Right. Please subscribe to the channel. I mean, how the heck am I ever going to retire if you don't subscribe to this channel? Can I get some sympathy? Look at me. Gee whiz. So subscribe and do the ding ding. And what else we going to do, Will?
Oh, yeah. Make sure, the ding ding. Make sure you
get the alerts.
We'd love it if you'd like it. If you want to make a comment, we'd love that too. And if you want to comment on other shows,
please
feel free. And then hit us up with a subscription and a notification button so you know when we come on. That'd be awesome.
So if you're wondering what the heck this is, I'm 1 week away from having cervical fusion on 2 discs in my neck and back at it again because this is what we do. So.
Yeah, he's a workaholic. So
we're back at it and getting her done. Tragic night last night in Louisville following the results that came out from the grand jury on Breonna Taylor. And I won't even get into what I think about Breonna Taylor, about was she a saint? Did she hang out with drug dealers? Did she allow this drug dealer, Jamarcus Glover, to leave money in her house? Yeah, isn't that kind of like, if you know it's against he's doing something illegal to make that money and you allow that money to be stored at your house, isn't that also against the law?
Well, and of course, the left-wing media is spinning it. Oh, she's this EMT who saves lives.
EMT.
Yeah, she was an EMT.
She was terminated as an EMT.
And there again, I don't want to be following the right's playbook by, talking ill of the dead, but by the same standpoint, if you're going to make someone out to be this larger than life, and and she's going to be the cause of other people to have violence committed against them, and to have other people lose their lives and lose their livelihoods and lose their property, then we need to make sure and call this what it is.
Yeah, and it was not a no-knock warrant. Those are illegal in Kentucky. They did knock. They did identify themselves. The current boyfriend fired shots at the police. They returned fire. The rest is history.
Well, they're working on making it illegal in Kentucky. It was a no-knock warrant, but they did knock. So they had a no-knock warrant, but they actually identified themselves. But apparently this guy didn't hear it, supposedly according to him, and he opened fire on the cops. One of the cops took a shot, actually got hit. They returned fire, and of course, the one that's been charged is the one that was firing errantly into other apartments that were in neighboring apartments, and that's why he's been charged. But none of them have been charged with murder, because in order to be charged with murder, you had to go in there with some intent to kill someone, and they were just defending themselves.
Manslaughter would be, at best, would be what they could charge him on. But anyway, the rioting in the streets, it's crazy because we're teaching young kids how to hate the police.
Sure.
We really are. I saw a video earlier in this week. This lady gets stopped, traffic stop.
Yeah.
And she gets out of a car yelling and screaming.
Oh.
So
yep.
I hate to say it, black folks, you don't get a pass. If you break the law, if you're speeding, you don't get the right.
Well, and what would have been, because this female cop in that situation that you're talking about, she was just quiet and respectful, and she had her hands resting on her hips, and it happened to be over the top of one of her gun, and so and she was just freaking out. She made it. The black lady unfortunately made it into a way bigger deal than it needed to be. She was out there making a fool of herself, and everybody who's watched the video is just like, wow, really?
Yeah.
So, but. The whole thing was really sad, and
you
even
want to
the
talk
kid
about white privilege.
Yeah.
Well, that's another one with the mom trying to answer for her 19-year-old son.
Right.
I'm sorry, he's an adult. He's driving. He has to answer the police. But this other case that was recently, I think it was in Kentucky. They pulled her over. They pull in next to her, and she goes absolutely off. And you don't get a pass for breaking the law. You don't. And, with the mother, they asked her if the son if he was on probation or parole. And they refused to answer the question. That's a common question.
Now, don't get me wrong. Have there been incidents where cops have abused their power? Absolutely. And abused their power, especially when it comes to black folk or any. I mean, I've had people of color who were police officers abuse their power, be abusive, but by the same standpoint, that's not the point where you argue that. You argue it in court. You do what they say. You follow procedure. Now, obviously, protect yourself if you can, but the best way to protect yourself is to do exactly what you say and don't do it in a threatening way.
So, I have kids of color, and I've taught them that from the beginning of time. Yes, sir. No, sir. we'll fight it in court. So anyway, in Louisville last night, the interim police chief, Rob Schroeder, updated us. He said that 2 police officers were shot, but they did make an arrest. And the shooting, by the way, both officers transported to the University Hospital for treatment. Chief will not comment on their conditions, but they made an arrest. Do we have the video from last night during this shooting?
We do, and they've since then said that both officers will survive.
Right.
So, but yeah, let's take a look at the video.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
Good? I'm good. You all good?
We're good.
Everybody here? Good? What did you say? Are you good?
By the way, these videos are unedited, so there is graphic language.
Where do you want us to go? Where do you want us to go?
So that's got to be scary.
Right there. Right there. Officer down. Right there. Officer down.
Yes. Yes. Okay. What do you want to do?
That's got to be very, very scary when shots are being fired and you don't know exactly where the shots are coming from, but they did make the arrest, and a young African-American guy that shot at the police, shot the police officer. So they have made one arrest on that. There could be more to come. The sad thing is police officers are dropping off at left and right. And I'm not talking about because they're being shot.
No.
I'm talking about they're leaving.
That too.
They just don't want to do the job anymore.
Well, when they're not being defunded like in Seattle, where they're eliminating 100 officers,
right?
And they're already making squat.
Let's see how that works.
And they're risking their lives in these especially in these big metro areas.
Yeah.
Why in the world do you think little kids are looking at that going, "Wow, I want to be a cop"?
No, because of all the hate. Speaking of Seattle just hired a former pimp as the street czar.
What?
They're paying him $150,000 a year plus benefits, and supposedly, he's got this. That's a picture of him right there.
Wow.
So
that's who I want to hire.
Yeah, ex-pimp, and paid him $150,000 a year, and his job is to eliminate protests. His name is Andre Taylor. He's been an activist for many years. Maybe he'll be a president because that's what Obama was, an activist. He was an organizer. He's an organizer.
If he can get people's attention, he can get control of the situation. I mean, maybe it's a good move. I don't know.
By the way,
I don't know the guy.
He did appear on the documentary called American Pimp.
Oh wow!
And he's been working for this nonprofit called Not This Time, and is now what they call it's part of the street czar, part of the alternative policing measures. So this guy's going to step in and be the czar of the streets.
Interesting.
Can't wait for that. That's going to be very interesting. We hire a pimp.
Czar.
Yeah, and if you don't do what he says, he will pimp slap you. He will do it. He will pimp slap you, and that's the way he's going to police from this point on.
I don't want to be pimp slapped, so yes, sir.
He's going to be like, bitch, you did what?
Smack.
So we can have this discussion until November. Is the election process going to be illegal with all these mail-in votes? I had this discussion with my brother, who is a big-time liberal.
Oh, yeah.
Lives in San Francisco, has drank the Kool-Aid, and he said, well, 70% of all votes in California are mail-in ballots. Hey, California is not the United States benchmark anymore. I hate to tell you that.
I'm sorry. How many illegals vote in California all the time?
Well, yeah. So let's not make California. But United States postal inspectors are now looking into Wisconsin, where they found a bunch of mail that was dumped, including some ballots.
Look at this.
Yeah, look at there. Oh, yeah. There we got the mail-in ballots. There we go. But my brother was saying not all of them were Republican, because at first they said it was not. They
was 100% Trump.
100%. But that's down to what?
90%.
90%.
So it's only 90% were for Trump.
So
that were found in the trash.
Yeah. So
And what about all the ones in the ditch?
yeah, so let me ask you this much. Who endorsed Biden to be their next president?
Was it the Postal Union?
Yeah. Oh, wow. I don't.
I
wonder
surely
how
that doesn't
that
have
works.
anything to do with. Well, and that moves us to the next part, because I mean we've got these ballots being dumped. So if you think now, if you have any question, do you think that the Democrats are willing to go to extreme measures to
I
make
think they're
sure
scared.
that they get Trump out of office? There's another little piece to this. It doesn't have anything to do with that kind of voter fraud. It's a whole other kind, right, V?
Yeah. So, and Bloomberg and LeBron James are offering up all kind of money to pay the fines to allow felons to vote. Now, look, they passed this law, I think it was 2017, that felons would be able to vote, but they put a caveat to that and said all their fines, including even child support, would have to be paid before they get that right to vote.
Before they could have their right to vote back.
So LeBron James steps up
And Bloomberg.
and says, let us help. So the Lakers superstar, part of the Florida Rights Restoration Program that actually helped pass this law, but then they tagged on the part at the end that said, you got to pay all your fines. Anyway, he worked with them, and he says he's willing to pay a lot of money for felons to be able to vote. He'll pay all their fines.
This would be fantastic, except for the fact that in order to get their fines paid, I wonder who they're asking them to vote for.
Well, let me ask you, we're always hear about all these poor kids not having college tuition and not having this. So you're going to give money to felons instead of saying, hey, I'm going to pay for some kids' college.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But to take it even further, Michael Bloomberg, the former former mayor of New York City, hey, it's not the pain pills, it's just me, said that he'll pay the fines of $32,000
to the tune of
felons.
$16 million.
$16 million. And he said it's a drop in the bucket. Florida Attorney General has since said that they're going to investigate. More on this from Representative Matt Getz.
There may be a criminal investigation already underway of the Bloomberg-connected activities in Florida. It is a third-degree felony for someone to either directly or indirectly provide something of value to impact whether or not someone votes. So the question is whether or not paying off someone's fines and legal obligations counts as something of value, and it clearly does.
So would they call that pay to play?
Well, I mean, definitely. I mean, paying for votes or bribing. I mean, there's a lot of different things that might fall under.
I think that, and I hope LeBron James and Michael Bloomberg get in big trouble. I hope they do.
Come on, guys, really?
I mean, you can't pay people. That's like back in the day. I grew up in Louisiana. True story. My job as a kid, I had two jobs. Number one, to go hand out flyers. And I went into the poorest of poorest neighborhoods, most of the time in the housing projects, and handed out flyers. The second job is on election day, I would sit at the bus and we'd pick a lot of people up. We'd go into the projects and the poor sides of town and pick people up in this big bus that had campaign flyers all the way around it. And so we would drop them off. They would come back, get on the bus. When they got on the bus, we'd have them $25.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I participated in that as a child, unknowing that it was illegal. And why would they have a kid doing that?
Well, so they wouldn't get in trouble. And so if you got charged, it was a minor doing it.
By the way, that was the Democratic Party, too. But it was a different Democratic Party back in the day.
Yeah, well.
So people think that
They weren't as desperate back then. I'm just going to say.
I'm just saying. They'd hand them off $25. I mean, I hear it being happening today where they give them gift cards. They give them gift cards to Starbucks or somewhere like that.
Jeez.
By the way, if I haven't said it yet, Starbucks sucks.
Okay.
So people think that it's their right to protest. People think it's their right to get in the way of police officers trying to do their job.
No, you can't impede police officers.
So let's roll the video from the guy that, you got to watch the video.
Yeah.
So police are rushing to the scene, and they're using bicycles to block people. They take those bicycles, and they put them together, and they can use the bicycles as a weapon, so to speak.
Right.
Because they've taken all lethal measures out of police force. You can't bring lethal measures out there. Even the non-lethal stuff, they tied their hands like rubber bullets. Oh no, you can't do that. It might hurt somebody.
So the police are actually using their bicycles as kind of a barrier.
So here are the police officers rushing to the scene last night, and some jackwad tries to impede them going to the scene. Here's more on that. Boop, boop, boop. Oh, got him again.
I'm sorry, bro. You didn't like that? Well, maybe you shouldn't be laying on the ground.
I don't know if your mom ever told you, but do not play in traffic. That would be.
I'm going to lay on the ground and block the cop from getting where he needs to be.
That would be rule number one. By the way, if you like the show, please go and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Look, it's cool that you're watching us on Facebook, and you're clicking on the link on Facebook, and then it goes to the YouTube. Take the time, please, to hit subscribe.
If you would, yeah. And that like button, too, if you would. But the subscribe is really important. And the notifications, that helps us out a lot. We really appreciate if you would do all of that for us.
By the way, still no sponsorship on Red Bull. I'm still waiting. I haven't had a Red Bull in a week.
This is your first one in a week?
This is my first one in a week. So God bless Red Bull.
Be careful now. Don't hurt your neck.
I can't swig it the way I used to.
Right.
President Trump, boy, this has caused a stir. Supposedly, he said it so many times that he says it, but he doesn't say it.
Well, they keep on asking him the same questions.
And I think he's just messing with you liberals.
Yeah.
So the president, and this is an AP story. Associated Press used to be a real news organization.
Well, a lot of them used to be real news organizations.
They're more just a liberal hack piece of just
poo.
Yeah. But anyway, Trump, here's the title. It says Trump won't commit to a peaceful transfer of power.
If he loses.
That's not what he said.
No.
See, this is the gotcha moments, like this. That's the gotcha moments when you read a headline like that. And that's not what he said. Let's roll the tape on exactly what he had to say.
Will you commit to making sure that there is a peaceful transferal of power after the election?
Well, we're going to have to see what happens. You know that I've been complaining very strongly about the ballots, and the ballots are a disaster.
So at what point did he say he would not leave office?
He didn't, but he won't commit, and that's what they're trying to say. That's where their play on words works. He didn't commit to a peaceful transfer of power. Do I think for a second that if he legitimately loses,
he's going to be gone?
He's going to step down. But there again, that's the question. If he legitimately loses, we've already shown, and he's concerned. And I think that there's a reasonable expectation that we check and make sure. Look how long with Bush and Gore and the hanging Chad issue.
That was 6 weeks.
Yeah.
I predict it will be 2 months. So it will be in the beginning of January when he's supposed to be leaving office before we actually find out exactly what is going to happen. So Biden goes on to answer the question about Trump supposedly saying he's not going to leave office. Here's more on that.
What country are we in?
Take a damn mask off.
I said, what country are we in?
I'm sorry, I couldn't understand you.
He says the most irrational things. I don't know what to say about it, but it does surprise me.
What kills me about that is, he had to clarify that he was being facetious because that those reporters are looking at him like, this is America, Joe.
Joe, I don't know how to tell you this, but
that's what they were thinking. That's why you could see he was annoyed, and he's like, "I'm being facetious."
And take the damn mask off.
But they wouldn't
enough already.
They wouldn't be wondering if they hadn't, didn't have legitimate concern before that.
I tell you what, this guy, and on the next podcast, we'll talk about the Hunter Biden scandal.
Oh.
Pimp, he's a pimp now. He's making deals with Russia, making deals with China, unbelievable stuff. Human trafficking. They said human trafficking. He might have ties to human trafficking. This is not an investigation by the National Enquirer. This is an investigation by the United States Senate.
Well, but of course, the left is downplaying it like it is the Enquirer.
So we'll get into that on the next podcast, but I'm going to leave you. You hear me yelling, Joe, take off the mask. Come on, man. Quit being like that. Take off the mask. What are you scared of? Get out of the basement. Kamala Harris is out. She's politicking. Joe Biden is not leaving the basement one time a week.
Yep.
Trump is doing rallies 3 times a week. You know why? They're scared. They're scared he's going to say something stupid.
Well, I can't wait till the debate. It'll be interesting.
He's going to say something stupid. So I'm going to leave you with the last story. Alicia Kitts went to a ball game in Logan, Ohio. She's from Marietta. So her kid's playing football. So they go to the ball game, and police officer comes and confronts her because she doesn't have a mask. Now, when is the time to confront somebody about not having a mask? Would it be when they enter the game?
Yeah, when they're going in the game. What, before, when they're at the gate.
Yeah, I would think when you're paying, that's the opportunity to
say, hey, you need a mask. And guess what? It would be a great opportunity if you have some masks right there to purchase.
Right.
Maybe at the booster, at the ticket gate, have some extra masks to purchase. Say, hey, you forgot your mask? Here you go.
She's got medical conditions, including asthma and all kind of other issues that she's not supposed to be wearing a mask. So anyway, the police officer comes over there and they get physical. And I'm not condoning her fighting with the police because I will say that's wrong every time. What I am saying, and I'm going to take the words out of Joe Biden, what country do we live in that we're tasing people over a damn mask? And this police officer weighed well over 300 pounds and couldn't handle this young lady that weighs about 100 pounds.
She was skinny.
I mean, she's Taylor Swift skinny. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
She's like Ethiopian skinny.
Come on now, B.
I'm just saying. And so he couldn't handle it. Let's go to the video. By the way, the whole video is about 3 minutes. I've kind of condensed that into one video and then a second video where I'll show you exactly what's kind of hypocritical about this.
What's worse about it,
Yeah, so let's go to the first video.
I don't think he can arrest her for not wearing a mask. This is not a warning. Call the cops.
So he's still.
Yeah.
Will you talk to them?
Here comes the tase.
It says police on the side and on his back.
I don't mean anything. But he may be, Bridget, because there's a cop car over there.
She's trying to keep him from handcuffing.
He's got her head. At one point, he had his elbow. Oh. There he goes. He tased her.
Tase somebody over a mask. Tasing this lady over not wearing a damn mask.
But he had his elbow on her neck. Isn't that wrong?
Yeah. I mean, she should have been fighting.
No, you don't fight the police. You don't fight the police. But let's go to video number 2. This is when they're hauling her out. And by the way, her kids were in the stands. The kids, she told the kids to get up and go higher up on the stands. I'm talking about like a 2-year-old.
And they all had their masks.
And here's the deal. Can you imagine a 2-year-old fighting with the police? Number one. That's number one why I wouldn't fight with the police.
And you're going to do this in front of your mom.
Yeah.
In front of their mom.
And that was her mother trying to help her out.
Yeah.
So, and they were trying to explain that she has medical conditions that won't allow her to wear a mask. I think we've taken this whole mask thing a little bit over the top when we're going to...
A little bit?
Tase somebody and arrest them. Give them a damn ticket and be on your way. So here's number 2, and I'll tell you what's hypocritical about the whole thing on video number 2.
We're connected together now, right, guys? We've done this how many times together? How many times have we...
Oh, here comes another random cop right there.
No mask! The second cop has no mask on. So you're tasing somebody over a mask, but the second cop has no mask on. So, what the hell?
I mean, come on, guys. And we've seen that plenty of times when someone's getting a ticket from an officer about a mask and yet they're not wearing one. I mean,
come on. That's a little. That's just a tad bit hypocritical.
Just a
And
lot.
look, I'm not condoning. She fought with the police. That's wrong. Don't ever fight with the police. But the whole idea, I think we've taken this whole mask issue way over
You
the
couldn't.
top.
I mean, I don't. She should have been fighting. She shouldn't have been resisting arrest. She shouldn't have been resisting being handcuffed. But do you really need to handcuff someone or arrest someone for not wearing a mask? Number one.
Write
Number
them a
two,
ticket.
you don't. Yeah. Number two, you don't need to tase them. You can make them leave, escort them out if that's what you feel like you need to do.
And by the way,
tase them.
This guy weighed, I guarantee you, he wasn't a pound under 300.
Yeah, he was a big boy.
And you can't handle a 100-pound woman? What would happen with your butt on the street with a 225 or 30-pound guy with, that's in condition?
Oh.
Unbelievable. But the point is, what country do we live in where we're tasing people over a damn mask?
It's
unbelievable.
a sad day.
Hey, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Two Bald Guys on the Right. Please don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification, and tell your friends about Two Guys on the Right. We appreciate you guys. We'll be back soon.
Yeah, please do. And don't forget, too, we're on Two Bald Guys on the Right, or TBGOTR on Twitter, and Two Bald Guys on the Right on Facebook. We appreciate that as well.